So this is a recorded lecture for Chapter 3, Design of Goods and Services. So the learning outcome or learning objective of this chapter is to define the product life cycle, describe a product development system, and then you can build a house of quality, explain how the time-based competition is implemented by operation management, describe how goods and services are defined by the operation management, describe the documents needed for the productions, and also to apply the decision tree to product issue. Then these are the goods and services selections. So under these categories, so they are like a principle of core aspect for running a successful organizations. The focus on delivering the value to the society through the excellent products, to the core product concentrations, customer satisfaction, customer satisfactions, and the alignment with the strategy can contribute significantly to an organization's for the long-term success. So this principle should guide decisions making and operations across various industry and sectors. So we will look into the first principle of the core aspect, which is the organizations provide goods and services. So these are the fundamental concepts which highlight the primary purpose of any business or organization, which is to meet the needs and demand of the society by offering the good or services. The success of an organization or the success of your business is often measured by its ability to fulfill these needs effectively. For example, if you look into company like Amazon, which is one of the world's largest e-commerce companies, they provide a very wide range of goods and services. For example, it includes product for retail, cloud computing services. They have entertainment content. So all under one company. So its primary goal is actually to serve the customer by offering them a convenient platform for the online shopping, and it has expanded into the various sectors to meet the different society needs. So these are the first principle of the core aspect in running a successful business. The second one would be great product are the key to the success. Great product are crucial for the success. Means that you need to have a good quality, you need to have a good value of your product or your services to determine your success in the business. Okay, so a great product can create a competitive advantage, can increase the customer loyalty, and also will drive the growth of your business. If you look into a case study example, is like Apple company. Okay, so imagine that you are in Apple company. So there are a lot of products. For example, their lines of product is like the iPhones, the MacBooks, and the other devices, which is known for their design, for their quality, and also for their user experience. So this focus on the product's excellence has made Apple company one of the most valuable companies globally. The third one would be focus on the core product. So we know that when you doing your business, you will have a lot of product. So you need to focus on the core one. So what are the core product of your business? So if you think about an example of Coca-Cola company. So their product is basically the beverage. So there are a lot of diversity of the products of beverage, but their core product is actually the Coca-Cola beverage itself. Coca-Cola Diet Coke and Coca-Cola Zero Sugars. But of course, they will have another types of beverage in their company. So here means that you need to focus on the certain core products which will enable the product to be excel and then maintain your business in the competitive age. Then the fourth is the customer seeks satisfaction, not just good and services. So we know that customer is play an important part of our business. Without customer, we don't have any revenue. So this principle emphasizes that customers are not just purchasing a physical product or services, but of course they are also have the overall satisfactions. They have the experience and the value that it's provided. Okay, so you as a manager of your company, for example, must consider this to complete the customer experience. Okay, you need to make sure the customer give you a very good satisfaction at the end of getting your product or services. The next one would be constantly innovate due to limited product life cycle. So you know that for every product they have a life cycle. So that's depends on the type of product. Some product have a long life cycle, but some product have a short life cycle. But of course, you need to be creative. You need to innovate your product so that your product can be sustained in the sustainable and can compete with the other competitor. Next one would be strong communications among stakeholder. Of course, we know that there are a lot of type of stakeholder in your business. So you need to build a rapport with them, among the customer, among the product, among the processes, and also the suppliers. So if you have a very effective communication among the stakeholder here, so you can actually gain advantages of that, which is you can understand what are the market needs from the customer, okay, to ensure that your product developments align with those needs, and then you can optimize the production process, and then you can actually collaborate with the suppliers. So these coordinations can lead to very effective and efficient and then successful product developments. Okay, so the last one would be the new product generate substantial revenue. So of course, during the end of the life cycle, you must have a new product launching, for example, new product developments. So introducing this new product can significantly impact a company's revenue by expanding its product portfolio and then attracting a new customer, and at the end it will increase your market share. So these are essential for the long-term financial stability and growth of your business. Okay, for example, we know that company like Microsoft, they all been in this field of business for a long time ago. But you can see that they are sustained up until now because they keep updating on their product. So now we can see that Microsoft has the Microsoft Office 365 that have a lot of new product features in there. So they shift from the traditional software licensing to a subscription-based model, which result in a steady stream of income for the company. You know that we need to have a, let's say example, yearly subscription of the 365. So it's keep on ongoing income for the company. Okay, so that is example of the case study. So these are the 7 principles of having a good business. Okay, now we look into the next one, which is the product decisions. So the objective of the product decision is to develop and implement a product strategy that meets the demand of the marketplace with a competitive advantage. So you need to decide what type of product you want to develop, okay, to meet the market demand. So we need to look into the strategy. Okay, so when you want to develop one product, so it's come up to these 3 strategy. Whether your product is based on differentiations, whether your product is the strategy using the low cost, or you use the rapid response as your strategy. Okay, so for example, differentiations. So this strategy focuses on creating a unique and premium product to stand out in the market. For example, Tesla. Why Tesla? You know Tesla is an electric car. So they're known for their cutting edge technology and environmental consciousness. So it's differentiate this brand with traditional automakers. And then that's for differentiations. So what about the low cost? So low cost is the strategy that emphasize the cost efficiency, which is they offer product at a competitive price and capture a price sensitive market segments, which is you can see in Malaysia we have example shop like Eco Shop, Mr. DIY for example. So they sell their product at a very competitive price. Okay, so that is their strategies. And then the last strategy would be the rapid response. So rapid response is they prioritize with quick adaptations to the market changes. So allowing for swift product development and adjustments. So in this case, I give you example of Netflix. Why Netflix? Because of the content productions, you see that they are very quickly respond to what the audience prefers. So their rapid response strategies are a good way, okay, to to entice the customer to buy their product. So what about your business? So you need to know which strategy you will use to develop your product. Okay, you need to have the strategy. So the next one would be the product life cycle. Like I said before, for every type of product, they have a life cycle. So from the introduction up until the decline process. So introduction, we know that when you want to introduce your product, so your product is not known by the others yet. So you need to put a lot of cost there, like a cost of development and also the cost of production, the cost of marketing, for example. So from the first phase up until the growth phase, your cost would be big cost compared to the sales revenue, because during the first introductions, your product is not known yet. So you don't have any customer yet. So the customer growth when along with the product lifetime lah, life cycle. Okay, and then you can see that at the some point of the growth phase, they have a break even, which is your total cost is the same as your total revenue, which is you don't have any profit, you don't have any loss here. Okay, and then some point of maturity until decline. So you can see that the sales revenue keep increasing, and then at the maximum point, and then they will lower down the revenue. Okay, during the decline phase. So during this time, your product is already known in the market. So you don't need to have a cost development. You don't need to have a cost of marketing, for example. So your cost here is much lower than during the introduction phase. Okay, so here you can see that revenue is more than the cost. So that's why you gain profit here. And then during the decline phase, at the end of the life cycle, you can see that it's also will have loss here due to the lower revenue, and then due to the standard cost here. Okay, so this is an example of the life cycle of one product. So by the time in the decline phase, you need to keep in mind, you need to have a new product development. Okay, to make sure your business is sustained. Now we look into the life cycle strategy. Oh, sorry. So this is the life cycle and strategy. The explanations about the every phase here. Okay, for example, introductory phase. This is the phase you doing the research, you doing the development product, you have process modification and also enhancements, and then here also is a supplier developments. So these are related to the cost. And then on the growth phase, your product begin to stabilize, So its effective forecasting of capacity become necessary. Adding or enhancing capacity may be necessary here because you know that your product is already known, you have a lot of demand here, so you need to consider adding some capacity here. So maturity phase is when your product become matured. So in this phase, competitors now established. You have competitors. So high volume innovative production may be needed here, okay, due to the high demand. Then you need to improve the cost control, reduction in the options, paring down of production line. And then on the decline phase, unless your product makes a special contribution to the organizations, management must plan to terminate the offering. Okay, so you need to see whether your product is still going up or the revenue is going down. So you need to have a new plan for the new product. Now we proceed to the next one, which is generating a new product. So why do we need to generating a new product? So how can we generate a new product lah? The new product. The first thing is we need to understand the customer. So the customer insight are vital for generating a new product. So we need to know, we need to do the survey to know their needs, to know their preference, to know every point of foundations for creating a solutions that can resonate with the target audience. Okay, so the second point is you need to look into the economic change. Okay, when you want to generate a new product, so economic is important because it impact the affordability and the demand for the products. For example, nowadays our economic is getting low. Okay, so the customer tend to buy within their budget and within the priorities of the product. So we need to recognize these changes, okay, to allow our company to adapt these changes, this economic change, and then we need to introduce a new product that can cater to evolving of the customer budget and priorities. Okay, so the next thing you need to consider is to look into the sociological and demographic change. We know that we have many potential customer. So what product you are making, does this your customer preference is you look into their age, you look into their culture, for example. So what are the criteria of the potential customer is for you to develop your product. For example, maybe your product is based on healthcare innovations. So your customer preference is more into the demographic of the aging populations. So you need to make sure you cater the product is based on the customer age populations. Then the next one is technological changes. So we know that nowadays technology change rapidly. Advancement in the technology frequently will open the door to a new product possibility. Okay, for example, now every product have a Wi-Fi, need to have a wireless. So you try to think what kind of product can be generated based on the technology. Okay, so we move the same as the technology. Our product can be sync with the technology, for example. The next one is the political and legal change. So when you want to create a new product, so you need to understand the rules and regulations, the government policy, which whether can create the opportunity or can challenges for the new product. Adapting to this law, to this legal framework, okay, can or seizing the opportunities within regulated market is essential for a business. The last one would be market practice, professional standard, supplier and distribution. So you need to understand what are the industrial standards, what are the practices and supply chain dynamics, which is critical for generating a new product. Okay, so you need to have a good relationship with the supplier, with the distributor, which can lead to the collaborative of the product development. Okay, so now we look into the stage of product developments. So there are a few stages, which is the concept, feasibility, customer requirements, up until evaluations. So we have two teams here in the product development stage. The first team is we call as the development team, and then the second one is the engineering team. Okay, so if you look here, so under the concept, feasibility, customer requirement, introduction, event, and evaluations is under the product development team. And then for the functional specification, product specification, design review, and the test market is all come to the engineering team. Okay, so they divide the stages with two teams here. So now we move to the next one is the quality function deployments. So here is we want to determine what factor will satisfy the customer. How if you want to produce a product, what will satisfy the customer? For example, chocolate. So chocolate, what will satisfy the customer? So we translate those customer desire into the target design. Okay, so to develop the quality function deployments, we know this as a method of house of quality. So the shape of the method is follow the house. We have roof, we have building wall left and right, and then we have the bottom of the house. Okay, so it will utilize a planning metric to relate the customer wants to how the firm is going to meet these wants. So the first thing first, the team of the development, they will conduct a survey. For example, in this, I will show you the complete house of quality here, which is these are the team that has been assigned to design a new camera for Great Camera Company. So the first action is to construct a house of quality. So they want to design a camera. So what function do they need to put in the camera? So they need to know their market needs. So first thing first, they conduct a survey, okay, from the customer. So they have a few factor here, which is uh, when you is the same example as you doing your PSN. So you will have a few factor here. What make the camera? What what are the trigger factor to buy a camera? For example, lightweight, easy to use, reliable, easy to hold steady, high resolutions. So from the survey, we can see that this is the mark from the customer. So we can say that customer most wanted the camera to be reliable. And then the least one is customer most wanted the camera to be high resolution. Okay, so we put the value here based on the customer want. Okay, so on the middle of the house is actually the relationship metric between what customer want and then the how to satisfy the customer wants here. Okay, so there are relationship between these two. So we can see from this example, okay, so they put the relationship based on the value 5, 3, and 1, which is higher relationship with the symbol. So for the house of quality, it doesn't matter you want to use the value, you put the value instead of the symbol, or you can use the symbol. It's up to your type of house quality you want to make. Okay, here for example, high resolutions. So high resolution, to have a high resolutions, so we can see that from the functions of the camera, so they have a strong relationship with the high number of pixel. So if you have high number of pixel, that means you will have high resolutions. So this is the high relationship. So easy to hold steady. So the design must be ergonomic. So they have a high relationship here. Okay, so with low relationship, you can see that lightweight having ergonomic design, and then the lightweight, this is the least, the low relationship, for example. Okay, so you need to determine the relationship. How high is the relationship? How low is the relationship? Okay, on the roof top of the house is actually interrelationship between this what we call as how to satisfy customer wants. Okay, so this is your design features. So for example, low electricity, so they have a strong relationship with the autofocus. So low electricity have a high relationship with the auto exposure. Low electricity requirement having a high relationship with the high number of pixel. So they tick 3 part here. Aluminium component, they don't have any interrelationship. Autofocus, you determine that autofocus having a high relationship with auto exposure and also high relationship with high number of pixel. The next one is the auto exposure having a high relationship with high number of pixel, but none of them have a relationship with the ergonomic design. Okay. Now on the left, on the right side is about the competitive assessments. So you do a survey, you conduct a survey, you have two competitor A and B. So between these customer ones, so you put the survey. Okay, so the customer say company A have a good lightweight, company B having poor lightweight. Okay, so you list out this good or poor, so it can be this symbol or you can put the number. Okay, to represent the good and poor uh, for each company. And then it's come to the rating. Okay, so the rating is an important part of before you design your product. Okay, so first, we see here, this is the mark for the high relationship, medium and low. So you need to times the value with the number of here, customer needs, priorities of the customer. For example, under the low electricity, okay, functions. So 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 1 is 4. 5 times 3 is 15. So the total would be 22. So you need to times the value with this value here. So from the rating, we can see that the highest rating would be on high number of pixel. So that's mean your design must focus on the high number of pixel first. Okay, so you need to make sure you have a high number of pixel. And then it's come to the list one, which is the list function, the aluminium components. So when you design your product, so these are the last function to be put in your product design. Okay, so now under here is all about the engineering team. So they know what are the target value for these functions. Okay, for example, your camera, so the standard, this is the standard target for each of the functions. So standard one is they need to have 0.5 ampere to make sure it have a low electricity requirements. And then, for example, aluminum component, they must have the target, which is 75%. So under the evaluation at the end, so when you already design your product, so you can see that you achieve the target here. You achieve the target. Did you achieve the target? Yes. Did you achieve the target? Yes. Yes and yes. So all tick. Okay, when you compare with other company, so you can see that company A and B have a higher electricity requirement compared to ours. So we are the winner to that. So if you check here, we can see that if we sell our product, so the possibility the customer will buy to our product is very high. Okay. So that's how the house of qualities looks like. It's a process of designing your product. Now, these are examples, so you can look by yourself later on. So actually, for the house of quality, they have sequence, not just the first phase. So you have a few phase of the house of quality. After you do the survey of the customer requirement with the design characteristic, and then it's come to the design characteristic with the specific component. And then specific component with the product process with the quality plans. What are their relationship? Okay, it's deploying the resources through the organization in response to the customer requirements. Now, let's move to the next one. Okay, so the next one would be manufacturability and the value engineering. Okay, so this is a methodologies aimed at improving the design and production of products, ultimately leading to various benefits. What are the benefits of using this value engineering? Is we reduce complexity of the product, reduction of environmental impact, additional standardizations of components, improve of functional aspect of the product, improve job design and job safety, improve maintainability, serviceability of the product, and also the robust design. So these are the benefit of manufacturability and value engineering, which is along the process of designing. Okay, you let's say you have a trial of your product. So you see there is a room of improvement of your design. So you change, maybe you change the element or the component in your design to make it more simple, okay, for assemble, for example. So that is what we call as a value engineering. These are example. You can see that from the first phase of the design, so it's a more complicated assembly. You need to put screw here, okay, which is, and also the cost is very high, which is $3.50. But along the way, let's say during the trial of the product, you see there is a room of improvement of your components, which is instead of we are using screw here, so we just use a single screw like that. So they will reduce the cost. So they put simply the assembly become more simple. Okay. Whereas maybe they have a reduction of environmental impact. You are using another component that are environmental friendly, for example. And then another way is during the process also you see actually we still can improve, we still can lower down our cost by only designing like this. So they put the attachment here in only without any shape here. Okay, it's a straight line, for example. But it doesn't means that you change the functionality of the item. So the functionality of the item is the same, remain the same, except the how they develop. The maybe the component is changing, slightly changed. Okay, maybe they use different type of product, for example. Okay, so this is value engineering. Now we move to the next one, which is during the product development. So normally we have a structure of the organizations. Okay, so traditionally, if you use these organizations, we call as distinct department. So every duties and responsibility, if you have distinct departments, are defined. For example, Department of Engineering, Department of Productions. So the responsibility are defined, but they're difficult to foster forward thinking. So that are the disadvantages of this structure. The second structure is what we call as a champions, which is a product manager. They drive the products through the product development system and related organizations. Okay. The next one would be the team approach, which is cross-functional representative from all discipline or functions. So they have they have like a departments, but they take only a few representative, okay, to make one team for that project. So product development team, design, for manufacturability teams, value engineer team. So these are example of having one teams uh, as your structure. And then the next structure would be Japanese whole organization approach, which is there is no organization division at all. And then the last one is the concurrent engineering, which is simultaneous performance of product development stage. It's a speedier, it will speedier the product developments and then facilitate by cross-functional team. So these are 5 structure of organizations under the product developments. So maybe your organization can choose one of this approach. Okay, now we go to the next one, which is the issue for product design. So here, the list of this design is actually the system that can actually cater the issue of the product design. Okay, so we use this kind of design because we want to make sure our productions, our stage of design runs smoothly. Okay, so we have robust design, modular design, CAD, CAM, VR, technology, value analysis, and sustainability and life cycle assessment, which is LCA. So what are they here? What are the definition of this? Okay, so what are the definitions of this? So let's look into this part lah. Okay, so robust design. So product is designed so that small robust design product is designed so that small variation in production or assembly do not adversely affect the product, typically result in lower cost and higher quality. Okay, so example, in McDonald's. So McDonald's robust design its service process, ensuring they are consistent and reliable in the food quality and the customer service. So this reliability has been a key factor in its global success. The next one is the modular design. So modular design means that it's product design in easily segmented components. So we can add flexibility to both production and marketing. And then we improve ability to satisfy customer requirements. If you look here, so these are example of the modular design. We have a standard design, but we put modular, which is customer can have their needs based on customer have their product based on what they want. So that is modular design. So CAD is a system, computer aided design, which are we using the computers to design the product and prepare engineering documentations. So why we use the system? Because due to the shorter development cycle, okay, to improve the accuracy, and also is having a lower cost for the design lah. Okay, we have the system. We will not hire any designer, for example. So it's give you a lower cost, for example. And then the information and design can be deployed worldwide. Means that if you design in Malaysia, but your production plan is in China, so you can actually transfer the data, the save data to the China without any issues. Okay, so that is CAD. CAM is the part of the CAD, which is utilizing the specialized computer and program to control manufacturing equipments. Okay, so they often driven by the CAD system. So it's extensions of CAD that build products by adding material layer upon layer. So if you look at this example, so the first layer is maybe on the bottom, and then you put another layer on the top here. You put another layer. So this is what we call as CAM, additive manufacturing. Okay, so this is the system of CAD, looks like. So the benefit of CAD and CAM: product quality, shorter design time, production cost reductions, database availability, and a new range of capabilities. So they have a lot of feature in the system. So if you are a designer, so this system is a must for you to have to do in you design in the CAD. Now, there's a few more explanations about the VR technology. We know VR is the virtual reality. It's actually a visual form of communication in which images substitute for reality and typically allow the user to respond interactively. So this allowed people to see the finished design before a physical model is built. So it's very effective in large-scale design such as plan layout. So what are the value analysis? So value analysis is focuses on design improvement during the production. So this is like the value engineering just now I mentioned. So it seeks improvement, leading either to a better product or a product that can be produced more economically with less environmental impact. So this is like the value engineering I mentioned before. The last one would be sustainability and the life cycle assessment. So LCA. So we know nowadays governments they put regulations, means that if you want to produce something, you need to have the sustainability components in your production. For example, so sustainability means that meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their needs. So LCA is a formal evaluation of the environmental impact of a product. So these are example of the LCA of what they producing they producing the ingots. Okay, steel ingots here. Okay, so the process what they have the steel ingot is for the end product, bicycle, car. Okay, so they have waste like slag and dust. And then what are the process for using this waste or the slag and dust? It can be used for the road surfacing. Okay, some of them also can be recycled, for example. So LCA is a crucial component of sustainability. So it's enable the organizations to make informed decisions by quantifying the environmental aspect of product, helping them align their practices with sustainability goals. Okay, so now we move to the next one, which is the product development continuum. So what are these? So what is the definition of this product development continuum? So this represent a spectrum of strategies and approaches for the organizations to develop and introduce the new product or services. So it's like a strategies. Okay. So for example, this strategy actually include a range of method from incremental improvement and enhancement to entirely the new product innovations. Okay, so it's emphasized that product development is not a one size fits all process, but it's a flexible framework that can adapt to the specific needs, goal, and challenges to the organizations and the market. Okay, so you can see that this is due to the why do we need the strategy? Because product life cycle are becoming shorter and the rate of technological change is increasing. And then why? Because of developing a new product faster can result in a competitive advantages. And then due to the time-based competitions. So how can you have the strategies or approach, okay, when you want to develop a new product? How? So they have a strategy here, which is either we go through the external development strategy or also internal development strategy. Under the external, we know that external is like we have alliance, we have joint venture, or we purchase technology or expertise by acquiring the developers. So alliance means that company may form alliance or partnership with other organizations, including the competitor, the supplier, or complementary businesses, so that they can collab on product developments. Okay, so the joint venture means that two or more companies, they create a separate entity to work together on a specific project or product. So it's not a long process, it's just for a specific project. So imagine that when you doing a program, for example, so you ask a company to join venture with your program. So that is for only that project, not for your whole production developments. Okay, so during this project developments, so the entity or the companies will share the resources, will share their responsibility and also the risk associated with the development process of your project. Okay, so this strategy is often used when the organization seek to have a venture that require a level of commitment and investments beyond their individual capacities. So means that why do we need to have another company join our event, our project? Because we don't have the capacity, okay, to cover all of the things related to the project. So that's why we need to seek the venture. Okay, and then the last one would be the purchase technology or expertise by acquiring the developers. So normally company can actually acquire other company or start up to gain access to their technologies, expertise, or any intellectual properties. Okay, so this approach will allow the acquiring company to quickly integrate new capabilities into their product offerings. For example, a tech company might acquire a startup specializing in artificial intelligence, for example, to enhance its products. Okay, so they need that technologies to enhance their products. Okay, so the next strategy would be the internal development strategy. So what is in this strategy? This strategy is we use because of we want to migrate uh, the existing product, because of we want to enhance the existing product, because we want to have a new internally developed product. So that is what we need, internal development strategies. So in the next table is actually we see that when we use internal or when we use external, the cost of production development is shared if you use external. For internal, the cost is internal by itself lah. And then we have speed of production development. So if you join venture, if you have alliance, so you will have a rapid speed of product developments, or maybe it's existing product speed of product development. But if you are solely doing that by yourself, so the production might the product development is very lengthy. Okay, so the risk, if you do internal, so it gonna be your risk, which is very high risk. But if you opt to the external strategy, so your risk will be shared. Okay, so now the next one would be defining a product. So when you want to develop or you want to design a product, so you need to know this kind of thing first. So the first one is you need to define the product in terms of their functions. For example, okay, so in the new product development process, the first step often involve defining the product in the term of their functions and the features. For example, let's imagine you are doing a new smartphones. So your initial definitions of their functionality is the smartphone. The phone is to make call, to send message, to take photo, to running apps, and many more. So these functions is the foundations of the product design and development. So you need to know that first. The second one is after you define the product functions, so you need to have rigorous specifications developed during the design phase. Okay, what is meant is when we define the functions already, so the development team will proceed to the design phase. So in the case of a smartphone, for example, so we need to have a very specific specifications to develop for each function we mentioned before. For example, making call. So what thing we need? What thing we need? For example, taking photo. So what are the criteria needed? So taking photo, we need to have lens quality. We need to have camera specifications that will include the megapixel, the image stabilization, for example. So these specifications will provide a clear guidance for the engineers and the designer. Okay, so that's why we need to list out that first. And then the next one is manufacture product will have an engineering drawing. And then the last one is bill of material, list the component of a product. So these are the first thing needed when you want to design your product. Okay, so this is example of engineering drawing. You can see that they have what? They have physical structure and dimensions of the product. Okay, so for bill of material, they have a comprehensive list of all the components required to build a product. So in this example, this is like the BOM for smartphone. So what are the components needed? Okay, how many needed? And then the descriptions. Okay, so this is what BOM looks like lah. And then this is BOM for the services. For example, you want to make a cheeseburger, bacon cheeseburger. So what are the ingredients? What are the components needed? So how many quantity needed for each component, for each ingredient, for example. So this is services, BOM. Okay, now we proceed to the next one. Okay, so the decisions at the end is whether we want to make or we buy it. So if we make in-house in our company, so the company actually can choose to manufacture certain components such as the smartphone processor or specialized sensor in their production house. So this will allow for better control over technologies and customizations. Some of the parts or some of the components can actually buy from the supplier. So for example, like the smartphone, you can actually purchase a component like display screens, battery or connector from the external supplier. Okay, due to their expertise and the economies of scale of the suppliers. Okay, and then what else? Because of the variations in quality. Okay, so quality, we can actually, if we build in-house, we can actually control the quality. But if we buy from the supplier, so there will maybe a variation in quality of the supplier. And then what else? Cost. Okay, so cost, if you produce in-house, so it can be cost effective if the company has the necessary infrastructure and expertise. But if you buy from the supplier, for example, it also can be cost effective if they have the expertise, if they have the production scale, if they have a competitive pricing. Okay, so it's up to you. You need to decide whether you want to make in-house or you buy from the supplier. So under variation of delivery schedule, so we know that we if we make in-house, so we can have a control over the production schedule and can reduce the lead time for the critical components. Okay, however, it's required a lot of planning. And then if you buy from the supplier, so you might have more predictable and established delivery schedule. Okay, so but we know that when we buy from the supplier, at some points we have a risk risk of disruption, risk of issue in supply chain, risk of being delayed. So these are the part of variation in delivery schedule. Okay. And then critical to product definition, what is mean is, for example, if you imagine a smartphone just now, so a smartphone processor is often a key differentiation. Okay, so it impact the performance and user experience. Okay, so the choice to make or buy this component can actually significantly influence the product overall success and competitiveness in the market. Okay, so before you decide make or buy, so you need to look into this criteria first. Now we go to the group technologies. So group technology is a concept that organize similar part and process into group. Why? Because they want to improve efficiency, and then there are some benefit to a manufacturing facility. Okay, so if you look, this is what the group technologies looks like. Okay, so why do we need that? Because it improves the design, it reduces the raw material and purchases, it simplifies production planning and control, and improve layout, routing and machine loading, and reduce tooling setup time, work in process and production time. So these are the benefit of having the group technologies. Okay, now, what are the documents needed for the productions? So these are the documents needed. We have assembly drawing, assembly chart, root sheet, work order, and ECN. So you can look at this example. This is assembly drawing. So this is like IKEA instructions. So they have detail of location, how to assemble the product. Assemble chart is to identify the point of production where components flow into sub-assembly and ultimately into the final productions. So they want to identify the point of component after they assemble certain product. So this is what we call as the first sub-assembly. And then they assemble again. So this is another assembly. And then they will assemble all of this assembly and then make it into one finished product. Root sheet is the list of operations and time required to produce a component. So you can see this is setup time, operation time. And then work order, you can see that this is instruction to produce a given quantity of a particular item, usually to a schedule. So this is like schedule, how many of the item needed, and then which productions is needed. So where this production, location, delivery. Okay, so they are under one sheet. And then ECN is engineering change notice, ECN. So this is like the value engineering. Is there any correction or modification to a product? So where normally ECN come from? So from engineering drawing, so it might be changed, and then bill of material component added into the bill of material. Okay, so we have a system configuration management. So this will need to manage the ECN that lead to the development of configuration management system. Due to the ECN, because we have the changes, so we need to notify our other teams. Okay, so we need to have a system in the company. So to cater all of the changes in the design. Okay, now we proceed to the next one, which is the service design. So service design, they are different than the good design. So the many aspects of the services are intangible. Okay, so service normally it directly interact with the customer. So your service productivity is notoriously low partially because of customer involvement in the design or delivery of the service, or both. So there is a bit explanation here, okay, about the how to design more efficient services. So we will explore the strategy to enhance the efficiency and the customer satisfactions. The first one is we limit the options. Okay, so limit the options, improve efficiency and ability to meet customer expectations. Example, in the restaurant, if you don't limit the menu, so the customer will slow down the process of ordering because you have a lot of menu. So customer takes time to see what to order. So the strategy is we limit the options. We limit the menu, for example. Second one is we delay the customizations. So the practice of we defer or postponing the introduction of specific customizations or personalized features until a later stage in the production or service delivery process. Okay, here for example, the scenario, I give you example of restaurants or burger, for example. Okay, so burger. So if you go to the burger stall, so they have default burger like beef burger, chicken burger, egg burger. Okay, so that is by default. But you can actually customer can actually request additional modification if desire. Okay, so this will reduce the complexity of the order taking process and streamline the kitchen operations. Okay, so that is we delay the customization because we already has the basic beef burger. So after we done the first part, so we only added the customization later on. Okay, modularizations is actually is customization of the service. It's the same thing actually. For example, they what they do for modularization is for example, we see the strategy here in the restaurant. Okay, they use this approach by how by preparing common components, ingredients such as the sauce, the dressings, the marinated protein. So you can see here in the Subway, they put already all of the ingredients in front of the counter there. Okay, to make it easy for uh, preparations. Okay, to make a consistency and the fast speed in the services. Automations reduce cost, increase customer service. So automations, example again, restaurant. So nowadays they have automated order and also the payment system. So it make fast order. So it will reduce the error. Okay, it will smooth the payment process. So these are automations. The next strategy is to have a moment of truth. You need to know in which state, in which part is the moment of truth. So what is the meaning of moment of truth? Is actually is a critical moments between the customer and the organizations that determine the customer satisfactions. Example, restaurants. So when is the critical moment happens? So if you imagine in restaurants, so the critical moments happen is during welcoming the guests, during taking the order, during serving the meals. Okay, so these are crucial for the customer satisfaction. So how can you do the strategy? Okay, you already know the critical moment. So you actually need to train your staff to excel this moment of truth. Okay, for example, welcoming guests. So you need to make sure the staff have a prompt and friendly greetings. Okay, taking order. You need to make sure your staff have efficient order taking. Okay, serving the meal. You need to make sure the staff have timely food delivery. So by focusing on these critical interactions, so you can have an overall customer satisfaction. So that's how we design the service efficiently. Okay. So document for services is just like if you see for the bank example, so these are the guideline for the teller in front of the desk. They will put this on the teller desk. Okay. So to have a say please and thank you and so on. So it's like a guideline. So the document for the services is like a guideline for the job instruction, for example. Okay, the last one would be the application of the decision tree product design. So this is like the calculation part of this chapter. So we look into this example. Okay. So if you look here, it's a long explanation. Okay, so this company, they are semiconductor manufacturer. So they produce a semiconductor. So their project right now is whether they will need to buy the CAD system, okay, or hire and train, okay, engineer. Okay, and then what else? The market for the product could be either favorable or unfavorable. So when they have this project, so they have produced the semiconductor, okay, producing and marketing microprocessor. So they have two possibility happens, which is during the sales. So the sale can be favorable, high sale, or unfavorable, low sale. Same goes to when you choose hire and training. So your market can be favorable or unfavorable, for example. Okay. So again, they also have the option not developing the new product at all. So another option is not developing at all. Okay, so which is you have three options. So which option is your final decision? So here you need to figure out the problem is actually what are the objective. Are the objective is to maximize the profit or to minimize the cost? So here you need to see what are the given information. So they say that the sales would be $25,000, 25,000 units processor selling. Okay, they have selling price and also they have cost. So if we have selling price, if we have cost, we have revenue, we have cost, and then of course this is about the profit. So at the end, you need to calculate the profit. Okay, so that is your objective. So means that between these three options, which give you the highest profit? So which option give you the highest profit? So that is our final decisions. Okay, now if we not developing at all, we don't have any profit at all. Okay, so that's done. Okay, so now we need to see whether we have profit or loss for these two options. So they say that uh, favorable acceptance. Okay, the market say would be 25,000 with the selling price of 100. Sorry, 100. So that is your revenue. Okay. And then we have unfavorable. So if the market is unfavorable, so your sale would be 8,000 only. With the selling price is the same, 100. So revenue is under unfavorable. Okay, so this same goes to this one, favorable and unfavorable. For the revenue, they are the same things. Okay. And also unfavorable. So you need to see what else. You have cost. You have cost here. The cost of CAD, okay, equipment is 500,000 So CAD is here. We buy CAD system. So we have cost under favorable, which is $500,000. And also under unfavorable, also we buy the system. So we still have the cost. Okay. And then we have what else? The hiring and training is cost only 375,000. So under hire and training, the cost of hiring is 375,000. Same goes to unfavorable. Okay, so however, they have manufacturing cost. Okay, so it said that should drop from 50 when manufacturing without CAD. So you produce your microprocessor without CAD system. So your manufacturing cost is about $50 per unit. So how many you produce? So for unfavorable, this is what the number of your productions. Same goes to favorable. So favorable, you have 50 manufacturing cost. So how many is your product productions? Okay. So this is like a graph. So let's look here. Okay, so this is example what I did just now. So high sale mean favorable market, unfavorable market. Okay, so you have these two probability. Okay, so here they calculate for you what I mentioned before. Okay, so we have revenue, which is this one is 25,000 units time with 100. Same goes to here. This is 8,000 unit time with 100. Okay, so you have manufacturing cost of the product. So each product costs you $40 for the purchase CAD system. But without CAD system, you hire without CAD system, later on is $50. Okay, so you have manufacturing cost, you have CAD cost, then you calculate the profit. So profit is revenue minus cost. So you get $1 million. Okay, so same goes to the low sale. So you have negative value, means this is the net loss. So this is not the final answer. You need to find the expected, the average, okay, of the value. So how you get the average? By multiplying the probability with the profit and then plus with this one. So you get the value is 388,000 for purchase CAD options. So same goes to the next one, which is when we hire an engineering, we hire and train engineer. So what are the related profit here? So you can see that when manufacturing cost is much higher, this is given from the instructions. Without CAD, so this is your cost of manufacturing. So again, you calculate the profit, so you get the answer, and then you find the expected monetary value, EMV, which is this one time with the profit plus 0.6 time with the 25,000. And you get the value of EMV, which is $365,000. So when we do nothing, it's zero profit. So that's mean to compare which is the highest profit. So the answer would be purchase CAD. So we can suggest the company to purchase CAD instead of hiring, because purchase CAD system will give you much more profit than the hire and train engineer. Okay, so this example is when they are the question give you the sales the sale price and also the cost price. Some questions, they only have the cost. So you need to make sure whether this is the cost or this is the profit. Okay. So I believe that in the tutorial class, Puan Anissa gave you a lot of exercises for this one. So I leave it to you to do that. Okay, the last part of this chapter would be transitions to productions. Okay, so now we already designed our product. So right now we need to move into the production stage. So we need to know when to move to productions. So when can we move to productions? So product development can be viewed as evolutionary and never complete. Yes, of course. But product must move from design to production in a timely manner. So you need to make sure your project plan you achieve the timeline of your project. So when can you produce the product? So you need to have a timeline for that. Okay, so most product have a trial production period to ensure producibility. So we know that before the production, final production, we will have a trial. So the trial, during the trial process, we know that at some point there might be error of the productions. So we need to have develop a tooling. We need to have a quality control. We need to train our employee to make sure we have a least error or no error at all. Okay, and then to ensure successful productions. And then the last one would be the responsibility. So we know that during the design phase, so the team is under the development team, for example, the design team. So right now under production, so right now the responsibility will be shift to another team, which is, for example, line management. They will take over from the design. So responsibility must also transition as the product moves through its life cycle. Okay, so the last one would be the three common approaches to managing the transitions. So it comes to the project managers, it comes to the product development teams, and then the integrations of product development and manufacturing organizations. So these are the three common approach to manage the transitions. I think that's all for this chapter 3. So hopefully you understood what I'm saying. So for this chapter 3 is all about designing the product. So what are the criteria needed? What are the strategy needed to design the product? So you need to know the life cycle of the product, and then you need to know how to make decisions of your final things using the tree diagram. So I think that's all from me, and thank you for listening.